Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024, hails India as one of the leading digital economies in the world. Bangladesh acknowledges cases of attacks on minorities, primarily Hindus, confirms 88 incidents of communal violence, 70 people arrested. As rebel forces take control of Syria, focus on 14 million Syrian refugees, India evacuates 75 nationals from Syria. World Chess Championship match dead even, 6.5 points apiece. China's Ding Liren and Indian challenger D. Gukesh in final 14th game tomorrow. Now, as rebel forces take control of Syria, ordinary Syrians are waking up to a new world. While there is relief, there is also uncertainty about the fate that awaits them and some 14 million Syrian refugees. Israel continues to carry out strikes to control the buffer zone with Syria. United Nations has cautioned no one should encroach on territory of Syria. Regional and global powers are monitoring the developments closely.
The regime change in Syria has rekindled intense emotions of joy, sorrow and hope among ordinary Syrians. Damascus residents voice optimism for Syria's future days after the ouster of President Bashar al-Assad.
We congratulate the great Syrian people on the victory of this blessed revolution after enduring a suffering that lasted for nearly 13 years.
67-year-old Kurdish Syrian mother Tarfa Dawood has spent over a decade searching for answers about her 4 sons who disappeared more than 12 years ago after being detained by Syrian forces.
We were working, we have a farm for chicken, and we were staying in the Katina area in homes. Demonstrations occurred there and raids happened on the village. They took away the youth and passed by our farm.
Tarfa hopes her children may be found now, whether dead or alive. Reactions have been pouring in from various regional powers who had stake in the developments in Syria. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has said Iran had evidence that the toppling of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was a result of a plan by the US, Israel and one of Syria's neighbors that he did not name.
There should be no doubt that what happened in Syria is the result of a joint plan between the United States and the Zionists. Yes, a neighboring government of Syria is playing and will continue to play a clear role in this matter.
The Kremlin downplayed the damage to Russian influence in the Middle East from the fall of Syrian ally Bashar al-Assad, saying that its focus was on Ukraine and that Moscow was in contact with the new rulers of Syria. As the Israeli army carried out strikes on what it called strategic weapons stockpiles in Syria, United Nations said it is against any violation of the territorial integrity of Syria. Earlier, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said he hoped the instability in Syria would be concluded with an agreement in line with the demands of the Syrian people. Meanwhile, Pope Francis has called on the Syrian rebels who toppled the regime of President Bashar al-Assad to stabilize the country and govern in a way that promotes national unity. Meanwhile, India evacuated 75 nationals from Syria. All Indian nationals have safely crossed over to Lebanon and will return by available commercial flights to India. Syrian rebels seized the capital Damascus unopposed on Sunday after a lightning advance that sent Assad fleeing to Russia after a 13-year civil war and 6 decades of his family's autocratic rule. Syria's new interim Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir said he aimed to bring back millions of Syrian refugees, protect all citizens and provide basic services, but acknowledged it would be difficult. Shubhendu Ghosh's report, DD India.
And RT's correspondent Maria Finoshina has sent us this report on Israel's advance into Syria.
After heavy bombardments following the fall of Damascus, it looks like the IDF has wrapped up a major offensive in Syria, crippling what Assad's army spent decades building. According to Netanyahu himself, Israel has destroyed 70 to 80% of Syria's entire military capabilities in just 3 days. The goal: to prevent Assad's weapons from falling into rebel hands. Almost 500 airstrikes have hit a wide range of targets, including anti-aircraft batteries, Syrian airfields, and dozens of weapons production sites in cities like Damascus, Homs, Tartus, Latakia, and Palmyra. The destruction is countrywide. The Israeli Navy also struck 2 Syrian Navy bases at the same time, Al-Bayada and Latakia ports, destroying at least 15 Syrian vessels. On Tuesday, also reports say Israel carried out more strikes in the Syrian capital, Damascus, targeting security complex and a government research center. One of the strikes near Mezze military airport, southwest of Damascus, hit ammunition depots. The area is especially significant for its military and security and intelligence operations. Meanwhile, the IDF is also making moves on the ground. Concerned about possible rebel incursions, Israeli forces have taken full control of the buffer zone between Israel and Syria, a strip that was previously controlled by the Syrian army and a UN monitoring force without Israeli presence. But it doesn't stop there. Israel is now expanding the buffer zone, creating a larger security area free of weapons and terrorist infrastructure, they say. According to Israel's defense minister, it's all about protecting their borders. Israel also says it is a temporary measure until the situation is stabilized, but now experts say it might take years. The UN calls Israel's actions a breach of international law. Let's take a listen.
A very troubling development. We are continuing to see Israeli movements and bombardments into Syrian territory. This needs to stop.
Israel won't tolerate an extremist Islamic terrorist entity operating along its borders, vowing to take any action necessary to eliminate the threat. So what will this stability look like? It's hard to say right now. The coming days, or maybe months, will likely reveal what's in store for Syria's future.
And to decode the Syria situation, joining me now is Dr. Kinvira Jangid, West Asia expert from O.P. Jindal Global University. Good evening and welcome, sir. Now, dramatic changes are taking place in Syria. What do you see as the most important developments after the fall of Assad?
Thank you. Well, the most important positive development one can say is that there is no forced flow of people out of Syria at the moment. One of the interesting things that the HTS leader, Al-Jawani, what he has done is that he has distanced fairly from Al-Qaeda's remains as well as the Islamic State from where he was once brought to Syria. I think he took the benefit of the resentment against Assad. One of the families that you showed that they were looking for their children after 13 years. This is the year 2011 when there was an Arab Spring in Syria.
Right.
And Bashar al-Assad, being an eye doctor and being a modern educated man from the Western societies and education, everybody assumed that he will modernize Syria. And Syria was fairly modern, remains modern and a secular country. But his hasty oppression of the Arab Spring by force really created a resentment that I think got cashed by these groups. HTS is certainly one, Kurdish group is another one. And these groups really waited till Iran and Hezbollah will be no more in a position to support Assad. So Assad survived for 13 years in a very violent manner, just taking the help of 3 players, Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia. If these were not there, he would have gone long time back.
Right. Professor Jangid, while Assad is now the past of Syria, do we have a clearer sense of What kind of Syria do Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS, which is led by Abu al-Jalani, as you mentioned, what kind of Syria do they envision and seek to create? How is it different from the one created by Assad?
But if we talk from the people's perspective, it won't be different. Maybe it would be more unstable and violent for some time. Syria right now is divided into three parts. So al-Jalani has one part, which is the center, and then you have the Kurdish that have the border with Turkey. And then you have the coastal area where you have the Alawite, the Shia pro-Assad, rebels or the supporters. So I think we will see a very, very unstable, domestically violent Syria, that one group will try to minimize the territory of the other. So there would be a lot of infighting within Syria. Syria for the outside world might not be such a trouble. Okay. In the last civil war, the world had to deal with the Syrian refugees. That won't be a situation for the rest of the world to respond.
But is that situation likely to reverse? The interim Prime Minister of Syria has said that they would try to get the refugees back. There are some 14 million of them, mostly, I believe, in Europe, in different countries like Germany.
So the European refugees and the refugees in, let's say, first world countries might not be even inclined to come back. They have been really given support and asylum and all kind of facilities that really took a great toll on the European governments.
Would there be pressure on them to return? Because those are also the kind of vibes that we are getting from these countries.
No, there is a pressure in Turkey. So Turkey has 3 million refugees. And Turkish opposition parties for years have been making this an agenda. And now the very first set of refugees who have returned to Turkey, returned to Syria, are the Turkish refugees. So I think Turkey will be in a way able to force these 3 million people back. But the European societies and the governments will not really create any kind of conditions for the refugees to leave. That's against their principles. Unless there would be a right-wing government of one or two European countries that will make it an agenda. But I don't think that's going to be a concern. I think the only concern is the regional concern. The region is deeply, let's understand, Middle East is not an easy place in terms of its democratic, sovereign international laws. Meaning countries are very sectarian within themselves and countries are very territorial with their neighbors. So I think each country, like Iranian leader, when he accused Israel and US to have a conspiracy against Assad, he also said there is another country in the neighborhood that he didn't name. What that country be? I think that's Lebanon. Now, when Hezbollah is gone, Lebanon is in a way getting back to Syria. Syria is a one country that went into Lebanon, made a civil war in Lebanon for 15 years. It actually claimed Lebanon is greater Syria once upon a time. So a certain population of Lebanon, like the Sunnis and the Maronite Christians, I think they are terribly upset about what happened to them through Syrian intervention. So now Hezbollah's threat is gone, and Lebanon must have played played a hidden role in letting
right. A little
really
more on that, Dr. Jahangir. The divisions that you're talking about does demonstrate the manner in which Syria, like many parts of the West Asia, has been a playground for bigger powers. There is Russia, United States, Israel, also Turkey. How are the dynamics likely to change after fall of Assad and with this new regime?
Well, if we talk from geopolitical perspective, It's a situation that American, Israeli security and strategic leaders have been in a way desiring for. They really did not want Assad to be there because Assad, in a way, to survive, needed the support of Iran. And in return, he let Syria be a smuggling zone for the weapons from Iran to Lebanon for Hezbollah. Now, when Syria is not under Assad and it's under a Sunni leader, I think it will not play any friendly role for the Iranian interest. So the most upset country right now in the region is Iran. It lost a great strategic advantage, but the European and the Western powers, much in sync with the Israeli interest, are happy and would just like to see the situation be stable under one Sunni leader, even if there are some group fightings for a year or two. Another very interesting regional player who might change all of it is Turkey. Now, Turkey doesn't support what Iran was doing in Syria, but Turkey also doesn't know what to do with the Kurdish problem. And Erdogan might be rhetorically very provocative, but he's an old man, not very strong in the Turkish politics as well. So how much he would really risk his own domestic interest to meddle and make some kind of a change? And what change? I think he cannot really. HTS seems to be holding the power. So this particular leadership of HTS will hold much of the Syria.
Right. And finally, how should India be looking at these developments in Syria? Some 75 Indians have been evacuated very recently. India has had civilizational link with the region, but how do we see the present developments?
Well, India thankfully doesn't have any strategic interest tied to the domestic or the stable Syrian territorial existence. So India's immediate interests are not harmed. If you look at the number of Indians rescued, it's a very minuscule number, 75 people, less than 100. It means that it's a country that's really not in our immediate concerns, strategically speaking. At a very humanitarian level, respecting the international law, India can just ask for the people of Syria to now decide for themselves. And India would ask countries like Israel or others not to really take territories or not to really force any kind of a political actor upon the people of Syria. Maybe Arab Spring and some of the people who really think they can decide for themselves will have a say.
On that note, Dr. Kinviraj Jangir, thank you very much for joining us on the Newshour and sharing your perspective. Amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia has warned its citizens against traveling to the US and other Western nations, citing heightened tensions. Also, on US President-elect Donald Trump's call for an immediate ceasefire, Moscow made it clear it will not make concessions on Ukraine. The situation continues to escalate with no resolution in sight. Ramindra Chauhan gets us more.
Amid the ongoing confrontation between Russia and Ukraine on the battlefield, Russia has advised its citizens against visiting the US and other major Western countries, citing the strained relations between Russia and the West. Tensions escalated last month following Ukraine's use of US and British missiles to strike Russian territory.
In the context of the increasing confrontation in Russian-American relations, which are on the verge of rupture due to Washington's fault, trips to the United States privately or on business needs are fraught with serious risks.
Moscow has reacted to US President-elect Donald Trump's call for immediate ceasefire, saying it is not willing to make concessions on Ukraine.
Donald Trump wrote on social media literally the following: "It's time to act." At the same time, he did not express any specific proposals or ideas, nor was there a word about the key thing: if Ukraine is ready for such negotiations. What can I say? Firstly, Russia is acting. Secondly, if anyone expects Russia to make any concessions, then apparently these people do not have enough knowledge, perhaps a short memory.
Meanwhile, Ukraine launched missile strikes on a southern Russian port on the Azov Sea and used drones to trigger a fire at an oil depot in the Bryansk region on Tuesday. On the other hand, the death toll from a Russian missile strike that destroyed a clinic in the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia on Tuesday has risen to 7. Both Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of attacking a vehicle belonging to the International Atomic Energy Agency on the road to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The incident, which occurred on Tuesday, resulted in significant damage to the IAEA's official vehicle.
I have said in the past that attacking a nuclear power plant is a no-go. Attacking those who care for the nuclear safety and security of these plants is even more unacceptable.
The Russian invaders attacked Ukrainian infrastructure with missiles. They hit civilian infrastructure and civilians in Zaporizhia. They also hit a car of the IAEA. I don't know all the information. The emergency services and police are still working on the site.
Amid intense fighting on the front lines, Russia continues to capture more settlements in Donetsk and recaptured 2 villages in the border region of Kursk on Wednesday. Bureau Report, TT India.
Moving on, the waters around Taiwan remain murky. China's fighter jets and intensified maritime activity in the Taiwan Strait are a show of force. With 53 warplanes, 11 Navy ships, 8 civilian vessels, China is making a bold move. Military experts in Taiwan warn China is trying to isolate the island. DD India's Mihir Maikuri takes us through the action.
Tensions are escalating in the Taiwan Strait as China's largest maritime deployment in decades, coupled with intensified warplane activity, raises alarms. Taiwan's presidential office has called on Beijing to halt what it describes as provocative acts.
China's behavior is a blatant disruption of the status quo of security and stability in the Indo-Pacific region, creating uneasiness and uncertainties among the international society. Many world leaders condemn China for violating international terms, threatening regional peace and stability, and call on China to play its part as a member of the region and stop all provocative acts immediately.
Taiwan remains on high alert, tracking 53 Chinese warplanes, 11 Navy ships and 8 civilian vessels near its waters in the past 24 hours. These maneuvers widely seen as a reaction to Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te's recent visit to the United States. China, without confirming new military drills, stated that it is taking necessary measures to safeguard its sovereignty and counter Taiwan's separatist forces.
We are highly vigilant against the action of the separatist forces for Taiwan independence and their collusion with external forces in seeking independence and provocations, and we will never let it go unchecked. We take the necessary measures to resolutely defend the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity, safeguard peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait, and safeguard the fundamental interests of compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait.
The United States has also weighed in.
That's why the PRC has been our pacing challenge for the last 4 years. We talked about their coercive actions in the region, and certainly this latest activity. This is something that we'll continue to monitor. And make sure that that nobody does anything to change the status quo in the Strait.
Military experts in Taiwan believe China's expanded activities are aimed at isolating the island. As the region braces for further military maneuvers, Taiwan remains steadfast, a testament to its resilience and determination to navigate these turbulent waters. Mihir Maikuri reporting for DD India.
In South Korea, the police have raided the presidential office of the East Asian nation as the investigation into President Yoon Suk-yeol's declaration of martial law gathers pace. The special investigation team raided several key locations, including the presidential office, the National Police Agency, the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency, National Assembly Security Service. President Yoon is facing insurrection charges for declaring martial law. He has not been arrested or questioned yet. He is already under a travel ban. In other development, former Defence Minister Kim Yong-hyun attempted to kill himself before being formally arrested for his role in the martial law operation. Kim resigned last Thursday, was arrested on Tuesday on charges including engaging in critical duties during an insurrection and abuse of authority to obstruct the exercise of rights. And South Korea's National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik has invoked the parliamentary right to launch an investigation into the martial law situation. South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-seo said he blames himself for failing to stop the emergency martial law, which was declared by President Yoon Suk-yeol last week. Meanwhile, thousands of protesters rallied outside the parliament in Seoul, demanding the impeachment and arrest of South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol and disbandment of his party following last week's martial law attempt. North Korea has meanwhile reported for the first time on South Korea's ongoing political turmoil, says Yoon Suk-yeol's insane act a serious crisis of governance and impeachment, declared martial law unexpectedly and unleashed the guns of fascist dictatorship on the people. Luigi Mangione, the man charged with brazenly gunning down a top health insurance CEO in New York, carried a handwritten manifesto of grievances against the industry, giving a possible motive for the first time. The suspect, who attended an elite university, University of Pennsylvania, reportedly comes from a wealthy family, could be heard shouting unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people as officers bundled him out of a car and into the court. The revelation of a manifesto carried by Mangione appears to back the theory that he was angered by the complex, costly and at times dysfunctional US healthcare system. Police says he decreed how the US healthcare system is among the most expensive in the world, and yet the country has a lower life expectancy than other developed nations. According to media reports, Mangione appeared to have health issues, living with serious back pain and undergoing surgery for the condition last year. Bangladesh on Tuesday confirmed 88 incidents of communal violence against minorities, primarily Hindus, following the ouster of the then Premier Sheikh Hasina in August. Acknowledging the attacks against minorities, Dhaka also said 70 people have been arrested in those incidents.
A day after India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri raised concerns over the attacks on minorities in Bangladesh and conveyed India's concerns regarding their safety and welfare during meetings with the Bangladeshi leadership, the interim government of Mohammad Yunus confirmed 88 incidents of communal violence targeting minorities, mainly Hindus, after the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in August.
Violence হয়েছে মাইনরিটিকে টার্গেট করে তো সেই বিষয়ে আমরা একটা পুলিশের থেকে আমরা একটা প্রতিবেদন পেয়েছি তারা বলছে যে মোট 70 জন সোফার অ্যারেস্টেড হয়েছেন আর 88টা কেস
There have been a spate of incidents of violence against minorities as well as attacks on temples in Bangladesh in the last few weeks that triggered strong concerns in New Delhi. Referring to the recent attacks on minorities in Sunamganj, Narsingdi, Chattogram and Dhaka, Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam said the tally of arrests and cases will increase as some new incidents have happened in those places. Alam further said that no one is arrested on political identity. However, he added that there might be cases where some victims were members of the previous ruling party. Meanwhile, various social and cultural organizations continue to protest across India against attacks on minorities in Bangladesh. Bureau Report, DD India.
In Bangladesh, the Chattogram Metropolitan Sessions Judge Court has rejected 3 petitions filed by Supreme Court lawyer Advocate Rabindra Ghosh on behalf of Chinmoy Krishnadas. The spokesperson of Bangladesh, Sameta Sanatani Jagran Jot, Chinmoy Krishnadas, was arrested on sedition charges on November 25th from Dhaka Airport. The petition sought an expedited hearing date for Chinmoy's bail plea, the submission of case documents and other related reliefs. However, the court dismissed them, citing the absence of a power of attorney from any member of the Chattogram Bar Association, according to the media reports. India has expressed hope that the trial will be fair and transparent, as the arrested Hindus have legal rights which should be respected. New Delhi has repeatedly appealed to officials of the interim government in Dhaka to ensure the safety of Hindus and all minorities. The Mithali Express, inter-country train connecting Dhaka in Bangladesh and New Jalpaiguri in India, has returned back home after being suspended for nearly 5 months. The train rakes re-entered India through the Chilahati-Haldibari border in Coach Bihar district of West Bengal on Wednesday morning amid heightened security measures, according to Bangladesh rail sources. The Mithali Express originally left New Jalpaiguri for Dhaka on July 17th, but had been unable to return due to the political unrest in Bangladesh. The disruption was caused by the anti-discrimination student movement in Bangladesh. Apart from the train, there are two other passenger trains between India and Bangladesh, the Maitri Express, which connects Dhaka with Kolkata, and Bandhan Express, connecting Khulna with Kolkata. Given the worsening law and order situation in Bangladesh, Indian Railway has suspended all three inter-country passenger trains for an indefinite period of time. The Royal Thai Embassy in New Delhi has officially announced the rollout of Thailand's electronic visa e-visa system in India, effective January 1st, 2025. The system is aimed at streamlining the visa application process, will also include an offline payment option, offering added convenience to applicants. The embassy highlighted that e-visa system would cater to non-Thai nationals applying for all types of visas. Applicants are required to submit their visa application exclusively via the official websites, that's thaivisa.go.th. The processing time of e-visas is expected to be about 14 working days from the issuance of the visa receipt. The Indian travellers holding ordinary passports, the embassy reassured that the existing 60-day visa exemption for tourism and short business trips would remain effective until further announcement. In Thailand's Phetchabun province, 5 workers were found dead inside a fish fermentation pond at a factory. The preliminary investigation suggests that the workers may have inhaled toxic gases and lost consciousness. Medical examiners conclude the victims died from asphyxiation due to the high concentration of toxic gases in the fermentation pond. Police are awaiting the results of the detailed autopsy to determine the exact cause of death. Retired Indian Administrative Service Officer Sanjay Malhotra today assumed charge as the 26th Governor of Reserve Bank of India, RBI. Malhotra, a 1990 batch IAS officer from Rajasthan cadre, succeeds Shaktikant Das, whose tenure as RBI Governor concluded on Tuesday. Malhotra's extensive career includes serving as the Secretary Revenue in the Ministry of Finance, where he played a key role in shaping India's tax policies, both direct and indirect. Prior to this, he was Secretary in the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, where he worked on various financial reforms and policies at both state and central government levels. Malhotra will serve a 3-year tenure as RBI Governor. And in his first press conference after taking charge, RBI Governor stated he would continue to uphold the legacy of the institution and carry forward its 3 core themes, which have been maintained for the past 90 years, promoting growth, ensuring policy stability, and maintaining the public's trust.
The RBI in its 90th year has given to itself the theme of stability, trust, and growth. So all these 3 broad themes that have been chosen, very, very pertinent, as is still an economy which needs to develop as we are entering in this Amrit Kal, and to realize the vision of the Viksit Bharat.
He said that spreading financial inclusion is one of the most important goals of central bank, and significant progress has been made in making banking accessible in every corner of the country.
One of the most important roles of the central bank here is to spread financial inclusion with the banking sector, banking and the non-banking finance companies under its fold. Huge responsibilities for financial inclusion. We have, of course, traveled a lot with in financial inclusion, especially with regard to making available and accessible banks to the doorsteps.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted that as the country is becoming digitally connected on a large scale, the threat of cybercrime is also continuously increasing. In an interaction with young innovators at the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024 via video conferencing, Prime Minister said India is one of the leading digital economies in the world. Lauding the young innovators, he was pleased that Smart India Hackathon had become an excellent platform to make the youth of the country globally the best.
स्मार्ट इंडिया हैकेथॉन भारत के युवाओं को ग्लोबली बेस्ड बनाने का एक बेहतरीन प्लेटफॉर्म बना है। जब से स्मार्ट इंडिया हैकेथॉन शुरू हुआ है, करीब 14 लाख स्टूडेंट्स ने स्मार्ट इंडिया हैकेथॉन में हिस्सा लिया है। इन छात्रों ने 2 लाख टीमें बनाकर करीब 3000 प्रॉब्लम पर काम किया है। 6400 से ज्यादा इंस्टीट्यूशंस, करीब 6500 इंस्टीट्यूशंस इससे जुड़े हैं। इस हैकेथॉन की वजह से सैकड़ों नए स्टार्टअप्स का जन्म हुआ है।
Emphasizing that hackathons were not just formal event but also giving new opportunities to our youth, Prime Minister said it was the process of evolving into a permanent institution, a part of pro-people governance model.
हैकाथॉन भी हमारे नौजवानों को नए नए अवसर दे रहे हैं और ये सिर्फ कोई औपचारिक सा इवेंट नहीं है, एक स्थायी इंस्टीट्यूशन को इवॉल्व करने की प्रक्रिया है। ये हमारे प्रो पीपल गवर्नेंस मॉडल का हिस्सा है। साथियों, अगर हमें दुनिया की इकोनॉमिक सुपर पावर बनना है तो हमें इकोनॉमी के नए सेक्टर्स पर खूब काम करना होगा। आज भारत डिजिटल कंटेंट क्रिएशन से गेमिंग तक कई ऐसे सेक्टर्स में आगे बढ़ रहा है जो 10 साल पहले तक बहुत इवॉल्व नहीं हुए थे।
Smart India Hackathon is being organized across the country in software category. 36-hour hackathon is being held at 2 places in Bhopal. In hardware category, grand finale is held at one institute. Students are participating in it with great enthusiasm. After several hours had passed during the hackathon, DD India's correspondent Aditya Srivastava in Bhopal had a conversation with these students.
Smart India Hackathon basically deals with solving of problem statement, which helps industry as well as for students. They can develop, they can be, they can explore their creativity, and then they can be, they can get basically experience so that they are industry ready and they know how to solve a problem.
No, we are actually not working continuously for 36 hours. We are taking rest. Each of the members are taking rest in between because we feel that rest is also important. We have to be creative throughout the entire 36-hour journey. So we are taking shifts, we are splitting the work.
And to talk about Smart India Hackathon, joining me is Yogesh Brahmankar, Innovation Director from Ministry of Education, joining us from Mumbai. If you could first put in context how exercises like hackathon help cultivate a culture of innovation and what that means to a nation like India.
Namaskar. So Smart India Hackathon, which started in 2017, has really triggered a culture of hackathons and culture of innovation and culture of problem solving in India. Because this hackathon actually is conducted in academic institutions where students from across the country, from different institutions, they work on the problem statements given by different ministries and government departments. And these students first submit their ideas on an online portal. Like this year, we received more than 57,000 ideas. In 2017, it was only 7,500 ideas. But now you see the growth of and the scale of hackathon over the period. Now all the academic institutions and different ministries also have started their own hackathons. The word hackathon has become very popular since Smart India Hackathon started in 2017.
Right, and Yogesh, a little more on that. Can you give us an example of how past present hackathons have in fact helped solve real world challenges in the past 7 years for India and the world?
Yeah, SIH has deeply contributed to problem solving across the country for different ministries, government departments, even the corporates also. So real world problem statements by ministries, depending on that ministry's particular sector, domain, or field application of that ministry, or something related to e-governance, or something related to automation of the processes. These kind of problem statements are actually coached and the students are challenged. For example, there are many solutions which are developed in the departments like ISRO, DRDO, Ayush Ministry. There is a Kada vending machine which is actually operational in the Ayush Ministry, and the final, what you can say, the trials are going on where they have created more than maybe 5 product versions, and they will now start selling. So Smart India Hackathon is actually contributing not only to the academics for contributing to the culture of innovation and problem solving, but it is coming back where real life world, practical world impact, that kind of solutions are being developed. Ministries are getting benefited, and a lot of social impact is also happening there due to SIH.
Yogesh Pramakar, thank you for joining us on the Newshour and sharing your insights.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Jai Hind.
And day 13 of winter session of Parliament was a stormy one in the upper house with minimal business conducted amid chaotic scenes. However, in the lower house or Lok Sabha, bills were tabled, discussed and passed. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was present in the Lok Sabha during the question hour today. The day saw Railway Amendment Bill passed and the Disaster Management Amendment Bill introduced. DD India's Anil Thomas has the details.
After the passing of the Railways Amendment Bill 2024, the Lok Sabha discussed the Disaster Management Amendment Bill. The bill strengthens the centre's role in disaster management.
2047 तक भारत को विकसित भारत बनाने का संकल्प है और यह विधेयक आज के समय की जरूरत है, जिसमें सभी मॉडर्न डायनामिक्स परिभाषित किए गए हैं और इस विधेयक को पारित होने के साथ ही जो भी प्रभावित लोग हैं आपदा के कुशल प्रबंधन से निश्चित रूप से उस क्षेत्र में कितनी कामयाबी हासिल होगी कि हम नुकसान को भी कम कर पाएंगे, जान माल के नुकसान को भी हम कर पाएंगे, तो इसलिए यह विधेयक को लाना जरूरी था.
Earlier in the morning, chaos erupted in Rajya Sabha as the government and opposition locked horns over a no-trust motion against Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Kiran Rijiju responding to the opposition's no-confidence motion, calling him a father's son who has upheld the dignity of the House.
रक्षा करने के लिए हर समय उपराष्ट्रपति जी ने पहल किया है. हम लोग गर्व है आदरणीय जगदीप धनखड़ जी राज्यसभा चेयरमैन के रूप में इस कुर्सी पे आसीन है. हम लोग फख्र महसूस करते हैं और चेयर के खिलाफ कोई भी आप लोग काम करेंगे, इस तरह का नोटिस देने का नाटक करेंगे, हम लोग इसको कामयाब होने नहीं देंगे और पूरे कांग्रेस पार्टी माफी मांगना चाहिए.
The leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, met with Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and requested the removal of BJP MP's comments against him. The winter session of Parliament has not seen much official business happening due to numerous adjournments and protests by the opposition. The issues where the logjam persists range from Adani's US indictment, Manipur and BJP's allegations of Rahul and Sonia Gandhi working with US hedge fund tycoon George Soros to bring shame to the country. Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
India's lower house or Lok Sabha passed the Railways Amendment Bill 2024 on Wednesday during the winter session of the Parliament. The bill was taken up for discussion in the Lok Sabha. Intends to amend the Railways Act of 1989 to enhance the powers of the Railway Board and improve operational efficiency. DD India's Anil Thomas has the details.
The Railways Amendment Bill 2024 primarily grants statutory powers to the Railway Board and was introduced by Union Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. The bill aims at enhancing the overall functioning and independence of the Railway Board. While addressing the House, Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav highlighted several key initiatives undertaken by the Railway Ministry.
एक नई जो ट्रेन डेवलप की अमृत भारत ट्रेन पूरी तरह से नॉन एसी है। 22 कोच में से 20 कोच जो पैसेंजर के हैं, 2 कोच पार्सल के और इसके रहते हैं। 20 में से 10 स्लीपर कोच है और 10 जनरल कोच है और इसमें वही टेक्नोलॉजी लगाई गई है जो कि वंदे भारत में ऑटोमेटिक कपलर्स की, अंदर बेटर क्वालिटी की ट्रेन, बेटर क्वालिटी की सीट्स की, चार्जिंग पॉइंट्स की, टॉयलेट्स एकदम नई डिज़ाइन के। दोनों ट्रेन्स अच्छी चली है। अनुभव के आधार पे 50 और गाड़ियों का प्रोडक्शन प्लान हाथ में ले लिया ऑलरेडी। आगामी जनवरी के महीने से या ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फरवरी के महीने से हर महीने 2-2, 3-3 ट्रेन अमृत भारत की नई आने लगेगी।
Union Minister also emphasized that Railways is making significant efforts to improve the lives of the common people and Railways derailment are down by 75% from UPA government.
वेल्डिंग के फेलियर पहले 10 साल पहले साल के 3,700 वेल्डिंग के फेलियर्स होते थे जिसके कारण डिरेलमेंट होता था। आज मात्र 480, 87% कमी आई है वेल्डिंग के फेलियर में। रेल का फ्रैक्चर बार बार सुनाई देता था। 2013-14 में जहां 2,500 रेल फ्रैक्चर्स होते थे वो 85% कम होके मात्र 380 रह गए और इसको भी प्रयास है कि इसमें और भी प्रयास करके इसको भी रिड्यूस करना है।
While speaking in Parliament, the Union Minister announced 13,000 trains, including 3,000 special ones for Mahakumbh. 15 million to 20 million passengers are expected to travel to Prayagraj to take part in Mahakumbh, which happens in 14 years. The Indian Railways has spent more than $590 million on preparations for the Mahakumbh in the past 2 years.
महाकुंभ के लिए 13,000 ट्रेन की व्यवस्था की गई और अध्यक्ष जी कहीं पर भी गरीबों के लिए, मध्यम वर्गीय परिवारों के लिए बहुत फोकस्ड वे में रेलवे का माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में काम चल रहा है।
The Railways Amendment Bill enhances the functioning and independence of the Railway Board. The bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha during the previous Parliament session. Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
The inaugural day of the much-awaited India Maritime Heritage Conclave 2024, organized by Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, commenced on Wednesday in New Delhi. The conclave brought together key ministers, prominent speakers, maritime experts, thought leaders from across the globe, highlighted India's rich seafaring legacy, its pivotal role in shaping cultural and economic exchanges across the world, and its vision for sustainable maritime innovation, underscoring its emergence as a maritime powerhouse.
India's maritime heritage is more than just the story of the past. In fact, it's a living legacy. And that's what India Maritime Heritage Conclave 2024 is all about, celebrating India's legacy in global maritime history.
The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways organized first ever India Maritime Heritage Conclave 2024. The conclave brings together prominent speakers, maritime experts and thought leaders from across the globe to discuss and celebrate India's seafaring traditions. Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, graced the occasion and said initiatives like these in this domain will go a long way.
This gathering, therefore, is indicative that the initiative, first of its kind, in this domain will go a long way. For last decade, we have seen many firsts in this country. This is one amongst many firsts in this country where initiatives have been taken in varied fields. This one in maritime heritage.
India's Ports, Shipping and Waterways Minister Sarbananda Sonowal officially launched the maiden India Maritime Heritage Conclave in New Delhi. While addressing the gathering, Sonowal praised the conclave and termed it an important event under the visionary leadership of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
In the last 10 years, whatever success stories are being created, it is only happening only because of our able leadership of our Honorable Prime Ministers. And today, it is his direction and also his vision which is helping us all the time to put our best possible effort to the growth of maritime trade, maritime industry and maritime voices.
Delegates from around 11 countries are taking part in the two-day event. They also expressed happiness and appreciation for the opportunity to engage with India's rich maritime heritage.
I'm a maritime archaeologist, and it's a very exciting time to be one, especially one working with Indian colleagues.
I'm very impressed by the organization, and I'm very much looking forward to see the result of all this investment that the government is doing in maritime heritage.
With experts, historians and enthusiasts from across the globe in attendance, this gathering offers a unique opportunity to reflect on the role of the sea in shaping not only India's history but its future. Siddharth Bharadwaj's report for DD India.
The National Panchayat Awards 2024 celebrated the grassroots governance in India, recognizing the stellar contribution of panchayats in fostering rural development. Here's more.
The National Panchayat Awards 2024 were held with grandeur, highlighting the pivotal role of panchayats in nation building. President Draupadi Murmu honoured panchayats that showcased excellence in various fields, including water conservation, sanitation, and renewable energy initiatives. A notable aspect of the event was the recognition of 17 women representatives, underlining the growing role of women in rural governance. Their achievements set a benchmark for inclusive and progressive leadership.
हमारे देश की लगभग 64% जनसंख्या गांव में निवास करती है। इसीलिए गांव और ग्रामवासियों को विकास और सशक्तिकरण भारत को एक विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लिए अहम है। आप सबके समर्पण और प्रयासों के बल पर आपकी पंचायतों को ये सम्मान प्राप्त हुआ है। मुझे विश्वास है कि ये सम्मान आपको और भी बेहतर कार्य करने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करेगा।
Among the awardees were panchayats that implemented solar energy solutions, enhanced clean water access, and promoted Swachh Bharat initiatives. Their innovative approaches reflect the spirit of self-reliance and Atmanirbhar Bharat. With initiatives like these, India's rural governance continues to shine as a model of empowerment and development. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
India gears up for an exciting sports season. Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir will host the Khelo India Winter Games in early 2025, spotlighting Olympic talent. Meanwhile, the Fit India Cyclothon starts on December 17th, promoting fitness and green awareness. Plus, the National Sports Repository System is streamlining athlete registration and rewards, revolutionizing India's sports ecosystem.
Get ready for an action-packed season of sports as India takes giant strides towards becoming a global sports powerhouse. Khelo India Winter Games. The 2025 Khelo India season kicks off with thrilling Winter Games. The Union Territory of Ladakh will host the Ice Games from January 23rd to 27th, featuring skating, ice hockey and more. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir will stage the Snow Games in Gulmarg from February 22nd to 25th, showcasing skiing, snowboarding and other exciting sports. These games are crucial for identifying top talent to represent India at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Fit India Movement. The Fit India movement is back with its flagship event, the Fit India Cyclothon. Launching as Cycling Tuesdays on December 17th, the grand event will start from the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium with a scenic route along Kartavya Path to Raisina Hills and back. Simultaneously, a 3-kilometer cyclothon will take place at 100 locations nationwide, promoting community spirit, green awareness and a call to combat air pollution. National Sports Repository System, or the NSRS. Modernizing sports in India, the National Sports Repository System offers a seamless platform for athletes, coaches to register and track their progress. New features include automatic cash award disbursals through direct benefit transfer and integration with national federations and anti-doping portals. This unified platform ensures transparency, efficiency and a detailed history for every athlete. With initiatives like the Khelo India Winter Games, Fit India Cyclothon and NSRS, India is not just building a sports culture but nurturing champions of tomorrow. Stay tuned and be part of this revolution. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
Meanwhile, Indian challenger Gukesh came within striking distance of winning Game 13 in the World Chess Championship match at Singapore. He laid a series of deadly traps for world champion Ding Liren to get through in-time pressure before the first-time control of 40 moves. However, world champion Ding, playing with the black pieces, survived playing his 40th move with just seconds left on the clock. The final, 14th game, will be played on Thursday. That's all for this edition of DD India Newshour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Newshour. Namaskar.
Geopolitics and trade